and welcome to Now Showing. I'm Atika Farooqui. This week is special as we witness a spectacle after 12 years. And we talk to those who make you wonder about the magic of cinema. Let's begin with the highlights. Avatar: The Way of Water is James Cameron's visual spectacle that will blow your mind. Spectacular is the word. Govinda Naam Mera is a quirky comedy that revels in human misery and confused relationships. The hit and revered producer duo Neeraj Pandey and Sheetal Bhatia on what it takes to be a reputed, successful and a busy production house. And we discuss and hear in music with composer Pritam, lyricist Amitabh Bhattacharya, singers Armaan, Malik and Shilpa Rao. Let's start with the elephant in the room, Avatar. Well, Avatar 1 was the second highest grossing movie of all time after Gone with the Wind, with a total of more than $3 billion. Avatar 2, with the third and the fourth sequel waiting in line too, is already set for a blockbuster for its immaculate visual experience and the hardships of a family fighting for survival. Ex-human Jake Sully, played by Sam Worthington, is committed to the Navi body he assumed when insinuating himself among the blue body tribe as part of the Avatar strategy in the first film, before falling in love with the dynamic warrior Neytiri, played by Zoe Saldana. In a pursuit to exploit the Navi's mineral resources, a huge war between Sky people and Pandora's beings had followed. Now, some years later, Sully and Neytiri are living happily with their children and their stepdaughter Kiri, and also a human kid called Spider. But just when they thought they were happy, the Sky people of planet Earth reappear, and Marine Colonel Miles Quaritch, memorably played by robust and handsome Stephen Lang, he is back with a personal score to settle. Much tougher and much more vindictive this time. Sully's family have to leave their rainforest habitat and hide away among the far-off Metcayana, a reef led by Ronald, played by Kate Winslet, and Tonowari, played by Cliff Curtis. There they must learn the mystical Metcayana art of existing for long periods underwater. Sully's children and Tonowari's children at first were warring with each other, but ultimately they become buddies, almost like brothers. The submarine world of this film is the biggest highlight, the biggest attraction, and in fact the most prominent experience associated with Avatar: The Way of Water. There is not a single second or frame that is not worthy of holding your breath to. The best part about this one is that you spend 3 hours and 12 minutes inside a beautiful aquarium or inside far-off sea waters where the industrial waste has not contaminated even one single living cell. As part of new inventions after the flying animals in Avatar 1, James Cameron in The Way of Water has introduced giant, intelligent and emotional whales called tulkuns, who have been at the receiving end of human greed and play teammates with the Navis, especially when the enemy comes attacking. James, who has written, directed, co-produced and co-edited the film, chooses to put equal focus on the heroism in both the generations this time, the father and the son, the warrior mother and the daughter, who has a spiritual connection with the underwater creatures. It's a beautiful play out of human drama as well, with warring men on one side and a family subplot that believes that Sullys always stay together. Father protects, it gives him meaning, says the voiceover umpteen times in the movie. The film takes its own sweet time and roughly 2 hours for the build-up, but I suggest you be patient and trust Cameron as he knows the importance of details. Some may say the emotional quotient is a little lesser than his earlier films or his prequel, but I would say the visual effects are so awe-inspiring and jaw-dropping that everything around fades. The climax is one of the most beautiful things I have experienced on screen in a long time. James Cameron has been an avid environment activist himself who advocates peaceful cohabitation and coexistence of humans and the other creatures of Earth. This film, when you take your children with yourself to the theatres, it would be a beautiful, entertaining lecture in why he and many like him say that. I came back finding the real world so boring and wishing to be back with the fishes. It's a mind-blowing experience to be witnessed with family, ideally in a big theatre. Moving on, Govinda Naam Mera is a whodunit story that presents itself as a comedy and entertainer. Directed by Shashank Khaitan, it's essentially about a man who is popularly treated as a loser by his wife, is unfortunate in the matters of inheritance, and is son of a single mom who plays a woman suffering from paralysis. He is in an open marriage and has a steaming affair with a much smarter woman who's desperate to marry him. It's a roller coaster of a ride with many subplots: a legal fight for a 100-year-old bungalow, confrontation between two step-brothers, the workings of the Hindi film industry with a focus on the dancers and choreographers, crime and police, drugs, etc. Presented as a light-hearted entertainer, it's a mishmash of various emotions and tracks, yet never going too deep in any of the worlds that it talks about. It has the palette of Jaane Bhi Do Yaro, Ek Chalis Ki Last Local, and several other movies where the misery of the character is the fun in itself. With quite lovely performances by Vicky Kaushal as a dimwit who cannot handle people well, Bhumi Pednekar as an aggressive wife who shall not grant divorce to her husband, Kiara Advani as a dancer who has been struggling for 8 years and desperate to get a husband for a sense of normalcy in her life. All play their parts really well. Also, other characters such as a drug-addicted son of a politician who wants to make a music video, his cynical father who rants abuses at the drop of a hat, the popular character Daya from CID, who here is Inspector Javed, who adds quirks to the otherwise simple story, and the mother of a protagonist played by Renuka Shahane, who funnily keeps tokoing anyone who calls her a senior citizen or auntie. The actors put in effort. At the same time, the many twists and turns are something at every 5 to 10 minutes is something that propels the story forward with riveting speed. But that's all that we have. The city, the crime, the problems, the issues are only as deep as they seem to the eye. It can be seen on Disney Plus Hotstar. Shankar Jaikishan, Lakshmikant Pyarelal, Vishal Shekhar. There is something about a jodi that sets a creative unit apart from a single artist. They think alike, they bond as friends, work as teammates, and are also fiercest critics of each other. Friday Filmworks and Friday Storytellers are the two arms of a production house that makes film content and web content respectively. They have made films like Dhoni, Special Chabbis, A Wednesday, and series like Special Ops, and most recently Khaki, the Bihar chapter. Khaki, directed by Bhav Dhulia and produced by Neeraj Pandey and Sheetal Bhatia, is being lauded for its authenticity and its sharp take at crime and punishment. What is it that makes a good script? Where do you find good stories? Do they cast actors based on their stardom and social media following, or just plain suitability to the character on paper? How do they measure success? Is cinema art or commerce? Friends for 22 years and now partners in the company, Neeraj Pandey and Sheetal talk to me about the life of a producer. I was very pleased by the authenticity of the universe.
Thank you.
ना बहुत ज़्यादा montage shots या fast edits, ना बहुत ज़्यादा dialogue बाजी, ना बहुत ज़्यादा background music, ना कोई titillation. बहुत ही सही तरीके से आपने बिहार को, जितना मैं भी समझती हूँ बिहार को, दिखाया है आपने, और आप खुद भी बिहार के हैं. तो ये जो पूरा यूनिवर्स है, ये कहानी बताने की ज़रूरत क्यों पड़ी, और फिर जब बताया तो फिर कैसे बताया?
कहानी यूनिक लगी हम लोगों को. जब अमित की बुक जब आई हमारे सामने, उससे पहले मेरी और शीतल की मुलाकात हो चुकी थी अमित से. तो इनफैक्ट हम लोगों ने ही सजेस्ट किया कि भैया आप इसको किताब लिखें एक बुक के फॉर्म में, एंड आप अज्यूम करें कि हम लोग राइट्स लेके बैठे हैं उस बुक की. तो वो जर्नी की शुरुआत थी. अमित से मिलने के बाद और उसके बाद उनकी किताब पढ़ने के बाद फिर भी एक बहुत बड़ा गैप था, क्योंकि वो जो काफ़ी चीज़ें हमें जो बता चुके थे वो किताब में नहीं डाला था उन्होंने. तो एक तरीके से कहना सही होगा कि जो सीरीज़ है वो किताब और वो सारी चीज़ें जो उन्होंने किताब में नहीं डाली दोनों का जो है वो मिश्रण है. बुक को अडेप्ट करने की बात जब आई, और वहीं से जो है इस क्रिएटिव प्रोसेस का जो टोन है, जो सुर है, वो क्रिटिकल बन जाता है. तो वो आपको राइटिंग से आपको जो है उसको इनकॉर्पोरेट करना होता है. तो उमा शंकर वाज द राइटर ऑन दिस. उमा शंकर, भव जो डायरेक्टर हैं, और हम लोग सब मिलके वी स्टार्टेड वर्किंग ऑन इट, एंड द ब्रॉड DNA जो हम कहते हैं spine जो है शो का, that was decided between that period when we were writing the show. तो अमूमन समझा जाता है कि मतलब पेसिंग जो है इट्स एडिट टूल, एडिट पे बैठकर आप पेस करते हैं, बट आप वो जो है पेसिंग जो है वो राइटिंग से शुरू होती है. अगर आपने वहाँ से शुरू किया तो एग्जीक्यूशन भी उस हिसाब से होता है और फिर एडिट बिकम्स अ गुड प्लेस टू assemble everything together. And that was the process.
You being producer and director of a leading production house, how much does an actor's following matter to you?
Not at all. So we just look at the talent and whether he or she is right for the role. That is more important for us rather than how established an actor is and what the reach is. And this medium allows you to do that. So OTT as a platform lets you experiment and get out with the best talent available for that job. So that's the flexibility you get with OTT.
But what about the platforms that you are pitching your product to? What do they?
We've been very lucky. They've trusted us with our judgment and they've believed in us and they've let us do what we believe in.
Who's the creative person? I mean, I know it, but I still straight from the horse's mouth. Who's the art guy and who's the money guy?
So over the years, I've found that both of us do both the roles. Actually, it's not fair to classify कि मतलब मैं सिर्फ creative देखता हूँ and Sheetal looks after the money. He's also extremely creative. So it's his prerogative also to look into that side of things. So both of us, I understand money less. He understands much better. And that's how the partnership works.
आप बिहार के हैं, आपको सिर्फ सिविल सर्विस घूमता है दिमाग में.
I hope उतना इंटेलिजेंट होता है.
जितना ये कहता है.
यहाँ हिंदी और गुजरातियों में पढ़े हुए हैं.
पंजाबियों में by the way, जितना ये बोलता है नंबर्स नहीं समझता, उतना ही ज़्यादा समझता है.
Writers have been very critical of the fact that they were not given their due. People also thought ये कहानियों में दम नहीं है यार, वो ठीक है सब देखने में बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, but कहानी कहाँ है? The entire 90s and 2000s were about that. People were complaining about content, gravitas in the storyline. Now, thankfully, in the last 5 to 6 years, we hear of big production houses or big companies investing in these programs which develop writing skills, which invest on writers. Star did something like that. Your process of rejecting a story is like आप reject ज़्यादा करते हैं और choose कम करते हैं.
That's the key. Whenever we are looking out for stories, good stories are all around us. That's our belief. Okay. That I'm sure that if I would sit with you for 2 hours, 3 hours, you'll end up, because every person has got a story to tell.
कभी बैठिए.
हाँ, बिल्कुल बैठिए. And
12 शहरों में रही हूँ, बहुत सारी कहानियाँ सुनाऊंगी.
बिल्कुल. तो आप imagine करें अगर आपके पास इतनी कहानियाँ हैं, तो it's just a matter of meeting with the right people and identifying that one particular story that would make for a good cinematic experience or a good, series experience. तो कहानियाँ मुश्किल नहीं है. Yeah, to write them it becomes like.
That is a technique.
That's a technique.
That's a technique.
So one of our favorite lines when we are talking about the world of writing is that never heard a bad idea and seldom read a good script.
Never heard a bad idea
and seldom read a good script.
True.
And that's something that we keep talking about, believing, and yeah, the courage to reject something even after you've spent hours and months over that particular thing, and acknowledging that yes, it is not shaped up the way that you would want to, and it's not the right thing to share with the wider audience. Sometimes it's very difficult to pull the plug on something that you invested a lot of money and time and.
Have you done that?
Everything. As a rule, all
Many
the time.
times.
Really?
Yeah.
Losing a lot of money also?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a part of that process. It's a part of that process.
Wow. I think Manshu Dhulia once said to me, हम यहाँ पैसे बनाने नहीं आए हैं, इतिहास रचने आए हैं. So I love it when creative people talk like that.
It's not only the money, the time that you spend on it. That's more important. I mean, the effort that you put in it and then you let it go. It's difficult. It's not easy. But
so if money is not the currency in which you will judge your success the last 10 years, then what is that thing that you are measuring your success in? Is it the awards? What is it that Friday Filmworks actually thinks कि ये मेरी पूंजी है?
the love that we get from our audiences. I think.
Interviews तो आप करते नहीं हैं ज़्यादा?
But audiences से पता तो चल जाता है ना कि how whether they liked what we made for them, and if it's received nicely, that's enough for us.
Time for a short break on the show. When we come back, we have music composer Pritam, lyricist Amitabh Bhattacharya, singers Armaan, Malik and Shilpa Rao, talking about all things musical. So stay tuned. A lot of good music is coming up on the other side. Welcome back to Now Showing. I am Atika Farooqui. The hit jodi of music composer Pritam and lyricist Amitabh Bhattacharya delivered some of the finest music this year with films like Brahmastra, Bhool Bhulaiya and Lal Singh Chadda. The heartthrob singer Armaan Malik made a huge mark with his song Kiara from the film Vikram Vedha, and many singles, especially To You, and not to forget singer Shilpa Rao, who stole everyone's heart with her songs like Tere Hawale Kar Diya from Lal Singh Chadda and the recently released Besharam Rang from Pathan. This talented bunch spoke to my colleague Vishal Chatkara when they assembled for this year's Music Stars Roundtable and discussed their big shining moments and the pressure to deliver a soundtrack that will pull the audiences to the theatres, and lots of music.
ना हो के भी करीब तू हमेशा पास था के 100 जन्म भी देखती मैं तेरा रास्ता जो भी है सब मेरा तेरे हवाले कर दिया जिस्म का हर रुआ तेरे हवाले कर दिया.
To each of you, what was your big shining moment this year?
Kesaria, and more than Kesaria, it would be love story, I guess. In my case.
And but I think Kahani is your
Yeah.
Kahani.
it's the best written song this year for sure.
That song, yeah, and the album got a lot of
Yeah.
love.
Writing wise, but to encapsulate the entire movie, the ethos of a movie in just a line is incredible, and I think Amitabh's best written song this is Kahani for sure.
Thank you, thank you,
100%.
thank you.
For me, I think personally, I released a lot of independent music this year, and there was this song called You and Tu,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I had done,
very nice song.
and that definitely I would say is one of my shining moments this year.
It's tough to say a shining moment as such. Because
Dada
how
was
does-
shining throughout the year.
Wow. Yeah.
Maybe the Lal Singh Chadda album was, or maybe Tere Hawale Kar Diya, I like the most. That's my personal favorite. Yeah, it's tough, because it's every song, every album is like your kids. Every song has a memory attached to it, and alag incidents, alag how I've lived through that journey of a song. Because for us, a song is a journey, because we start a song from the inception. When you read the script, from me to Amitabh, then I carry on with his words in it, then I carry on with the singers and the orchestration. So it's a long journey. So every song has its own memory, every project has its own memory. So I can in particular say that this is my shining moment as such.
I think the whole making of Tere Hawale, I mean, more than, of course, the release and people when they love it, it's a full circle. But I think all the time that we all spent, finally, like Arijit, Amitabh, Pritam, myself, we were actually in one room after a very, very long time. And I remember bahut
Even AK was there for the
haan.
last dub.
And there was a lot of ice cream, I remember.
Music has always been a big audience puller when it comes to our movies. Today, when audiences are reluctant to visit cinemas, do you feel the pressure to deliver a soundtrack that will compel the audience to flock to the theatres?
I think Pritam, that would be in the best
That
position
Pritam
to
would be the
answer
best
this
to
one.
answer this one. actually.
Here I have a different
Take on it.
take on it. Here we are making a mistake. See the DNA, basic DNA, the हमारा हिंदी मूवी का जो इंडियन मूवी का जो है commercial song and dance is a very integral part of our film. This is we don't have to ape Hollywood. They the movie they call musical is all our movies are musical.
Yeah, all our music. Yeah.
I think Hindi filmmakers are shying away, or in the they're not celebrating song and dance enough. Whereas South India is celebrating them.
Yeah.
Another problem which has happened is because of multiple music directors,
Okay.
I don't think they're being able to tap that passion into a movie for particularly.
I agree. क्या होता है ना cohesive album एक क्या होता है कि यार start to end
And
one
आपने
person
किया
has the
हुआ, yeah.
responsibility of
It's my
making.
responsibility of if the movie doesn't work, if songs doesn't work, I take responsibility. अरे यार मेरे लिए ऐसा हुआ है. I feel depressed. It is my. I don't think anybody will feel so much for one song or ऐसा. One song में ऐसा नहीं होता है. Attachment ही नहीं होता.
वो fragmented हो जाता है पूरा.
Entire Barfi album, none of the songs were there. He shot it without songs.
Oh.
Entire. I gave him songs and I said, तू अगर lip sync नहीं कर रहा है, मैं इनको improve करूँगा.
Okay.
Okay, this is my responsibility. I'm improving the songs. बर्फी का कोई भी गाना नहीं था, मेट्रो का कोई भी गाना नहीं था. बाद में सब गाना शूट किया. नॉन लिप सिंग है, मेरा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. अभी मैं कबीर और इलाही छोड़ दूं बाद के लिए, तो अभी के लिए कोई भी किसी से गाना ले लेगा ना.
Right. So you're saying the problem is largely with the filmmakers and the trust deficit between.
No,
You
it's
need
more
to
about
have
that trust
faith.
and faith in
yeah,
one
yeah,
individual.
faith,
That
yeah.
if you have
Faith.
entrusted that person to deliver that album
I
from
think
0 to 100,
you
give
psych that person
faith.
so much, hit, that he's forgotten how to make a good song.
Or the director, somebody like Mohit, say for example. If his music sense is good, that's why his album is.
But I
okay.
think
It's like-
I feel like the source of a good music album in movies, I think, comes from the director.
Like even in our history, if you look back, the greatest of albums that we have had,
Raj Kapoor,
definitely
sir,
those producers and directors who are also
Yeah.
Yeah, you need
inclined musically, they have been able to
musical-
get it out.
Also, the thing is, a musical director I have seen shoots the songs like that.
Yeah.
He is so involved in the song. He is also.
Correct.
He's kind of working in his script. उसीलिए always call him. He's a musical director. चिंगारियाँ ये जो मेरे सीने में है दफन, इनको जरा देके हवा बन जाऊं मैं अगन. देख रहा है बन के शरारा, देख मेरा बदन, सब कुछ मेरा करके फना, भरता हूँ मैं हवन. ओम देवा देवा, ओम देवा देवा नमः, नमः नमः. ओम देवा देवा, ओम देवा देवा नमः, नमः नमः. महसूस खुद को मैंने किया जब तूने छुआ. ओम देवा देवा, ओम देवा देवा नमः, नमः नमः.
Wow, that was awesome. This was just an excerpt. You can watch the full Music Stars Roundtable at these times only on CNN News 18. And with that, we've come to the end of this week's edition of Now Showing. We will see you next week with my review of Ranveer Singh starrer Circus and many more things on the show. Until then, goodbye and thank you for watching.